Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you the Ozark Trail one-person backpacking tent. Please click like and subscribe to join my hiking family. If you've been with my channel for a while, you'll recall seeing my Marmot Tungsten one-person tent quite a bit. In fact, that was my first video review for my channel. I love that tent so much that I have not sought to buy another one, and that's the problem with finding a product you really love. Fortunately, I have hiking buddies who have different gear than I do, and they're more than happy to let me test it out so that I can review it, bring it to you to give you some more options. Fairbait, being that our first section hike on the Florida Trail was his first hike ever, he went out and he tried out this Ozark Trail. This is a good option for somebody who doesn't know if it's something they're really going to enjoy, so they want to be as cost effective as possible. So this is a really cost effective tent, and we'll get into it and I'll show you how to set it up. I'll show you its features and talk about some of its pluses and minuses. Setup on this tent is really easy. The first time I ever set it up, I actually set it up in the dark, and it was quick and easy, down and dirty, very easy to set up. So I'm going to show you how to do it. It's two pieces basically. You've got the tent and you got the rain fly. So all you do is you extend these poles. There's just two poles that go a little bit different than I'm used to. I'm used to my poles crossing over on the Marmot, but each end of the pole goes into one of the grommets on the webbing tabs on the tent. That's one. It doesn't always go perfectly. And that's two. Once you've got the poles overlapped, you just stand them up, and there are hooks on the tent to stand it upright, and you just clip the hooks onto the poles. Now these ones here on the side, they're the ones that keep the poles kind of rigid to make it more structurally sound. They can be a little finicky when it comes time to put the second one in though. That's one thing I've noticed in the few times I've set this tent up. The second one doesn't always like to go in well. But there you go. It's that easy. If you've seen the video where I set up my Marmot Tungsten, you'll remember I basically never use my stakes. Just because unless you're in really windy conditions, you're not really going to need them. However, this tent, it is one that I do use every time. I've spent about 4 nights in this tent so far, and it pulls the footprint out on front and back to give you a little bit more room inside. And there's the one in back. Next comes the rain fly. And all you do with that is you look for the rounded cutout on the rain fly itself, which is what goes over this doorway. So you throw that over the top. Like so. Now, here on the rain fly, there's an elastic strap. You're going to want to put that under the tent stake as well. On the sides or on the corners, there's a hook that goes into a loop in each of the tabs. It's shown right here. And there's just 4 of those. And again, the rain fly in the back. And the tent set up. You're ready to move in for the night. It's that easy. One of the things you don't see commonly on a lot of ultralight through hikers' tents is the ability to open the door to look out without opening the actual door and unzipping the rain fly. That's one thing you'll see on a lot of the ultralight tents, is that you have to open the door, open the screen to get out to unzip the rain fly to be able to see out. This is a nice feature in this tent. Also, this tent is really quite roomy. I am 6'3" and I'm sitting upright in the tent. I'm squatting down just so I can talk to you through the doorway here. But I have room to sit all the way up, and my head just touches the mesh on top. It also is considerably wider than your average one-person tent that I've seen. My Marmot is only 30 inches wide, so it's enough for me to comfortably lay in, but there's not much room to the sides. This one has a lot of room to the side. There are also a lot of storage pouches in this tent, as you can see up here. There's the one with 2 pouches on the back. There's one that hooks in toward the ceiling. And then there's one at the foot of the tent with 2 more pouches, as well as a gear ring that you could clip a light or something else onto. So it does have some really nice features.
There is also an E-port built into one side of the tent so that you can feed an extension cord through should you be in an area with electrical access. However, this flap cannot be secured, so you may want to duct tape it when you're out there backpacking because bugs can easily get in, and bear bait was plagued by mosquitoes all night long. And it wasn't until I started reviewing the product that I realized how they were getting in all night long.
So you can see how quick and easy it is to set up the Ozark Trail one-person backpacking tent. As you can see in this picture here, the tent interior is amazingly wide. On my Marmot, essentially you have just a little bit, maybe a couple of inches either side of your sleep mat. in here, I've got almost 16 inches from the sleep mat to the front. And I've probably got another 12 inches to the other side. So it's really roomy. You could actually probably fit 2 people in here friendly. Maybe not comfortably, but you could possibly get 2 in here. So for a 1-person tent, it's very spacious, very roomy. It does allow considerable airflow because of all the mesh and the fact that you can open up the screen on the door. So if it's not going to rain, then you've just increased your airflow to make it cooler. So in that regard, it's a pretty good tent. It's also only about half a pound heavier than the Marmot, which the Marmot itself is a nice lightweight tent. So only half a pound more. That's not a deal breaker either. It's very, very cost effective. So in that regard, yes, it is a tent that you might want to consider if you're just looking at getting into doing some section hiking. A couple of caveats though. On my second night in this tent, I woke up to a gentle rain, and I started noticing that it was beating on the inside of the tent, and it didn't drip through. It was only a short rain, so I can't tell if the tent would have leaked or if it's just meant to absorb the water. But when I got up later, I did touch the rain fly, and it was absorbing the water rather than shedding it. And maybe that's its design. But if you were going to use this tent, I would recommend that you might want to look at getting a waterproofing spray for the tent and the rain fly, just because you want that water to bead. The last thing you want is to be enjoying a section hike, have it rain, and then have it ruin your trip because you're soaked all night long. So yeah, in that regard, again, that's not necessarily a deal breaker either. That's just one of those things that you're going to have to take into consideration if it's a tent that you're going to look at wanting to get into. I would recommend waterproofing the rain fly because, again, this up, as far as I know, that was the first time it had seen rain. We didn't see rain when Bearbait and I were out on the Florida Trail. So as far as I know, that was the first time it saw rain. It's a new tent, and it did collect the water. Also, the top isn't necessarily the best for shedding water, so you might have a chance of getting some standing water up there as well. So that's just something to think of. Also, the bottom of this is the typical kind of woven nylon or plastic mesh that a lot of your more inexpensive tents will have. That they do the job. For a good long while anyway, they are very waterproof. However, if you're in a hard rain, I have noticed that there are times, again, not in this one, but I have noticed at times that with this type of flooring, if a good hard rain, eventually it may start to seep up. So if you're going to go with this tent, you may also want to get yourself a good footprint to help prevent water from being able to come through. I'm not saying it's going to. I'm just saying that there is a possibility based upon my experience with this type of flooring. Also, this flooring is a little bit louder than the ultralight tents. When you move on it, you do hear that crinkling a lot more. Is it really a big deal? I don't think so. So if you're looking at getting into a tent for trying out section hiking, this could easily be a good way for you to go. You could save some money here. If you're wanting to put some money into something, definitely put the money into a backpack. I love my Osprey Exos 48 liter. After having an experience with a cheaper backpack that just wasn't fit for my body, it didn't work well, it was not comfortable, it caused a lot of pain. You want to put the money into the backpack. So if you're looking at getting into the sport and you don't want to just go full on gangbusters into it, this could be a good option for you. It takes up about the same amount of space once it's compressed down into its bag as the Marmot and a lot of other lightweight tents. It is only a little bit heavier and it is much cheaper. So it could be a way for you to go. Do you have an Ozark Trail one-person tent? Have you ever had it leak for you? And how long did it take before it leaked? How do you like it? If you have any questions or comments, leave a comment below or send me an email at trailnamemace@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Be sure to visit trailnamemace.com to find links to products I've reviewed. Thanks for watching, and keep hiking!